Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Judith Ehrenstein with Mothers Out Front Acton, and I am here on behalf of the PIP STEM and Mothers Out Front with Sneha and her sister Ria. And Sneha, maybe you'll introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sneha Iyer. I'm a freshman at Acton Boxborough Regional High School, and I'm part of Resource Force, a club that is working towards reducing Acton's carbon footprint. This is my little sister, Ria.
My name is Ria Iyer, and I am a 7th grader at the RJ Gray Middle School.
Excellent. We're going to do a little induction cooktop demo today. And the reason that PIP STEM is really promoting this idea is that a lot of people cook with gas. And what we're finding is that about 50% of the people in the state use gas for heating and most likely also cooking. And what we're finding is that people might not realize is that we know that there are lots of gas leaks in the town of Acton, but we are also discovering that gas leaks inside the home a little bit, just a bit, but it's enough to exacerbate anyone with lung issues, asthma, COPD. And so we're really trying to promote induction cooking. So Sneha, perhaps you can begin. You have an experiment you've got going.
Yes. So induction cooking is a really good and efficient substitute or replacement for gas cooking. Of course, everyone also knows that there's electric cooking, and that is what we have here on this stove. But we're trying to show the efficiency of induction cooking over electric cooking in this experiment. It's just simply boiling 2 cups of water in 2 different pans, one on the induction cooktop and one on the electric cooktop. I'll give it a start. Yeah. Oh, that's a safety measure that the induction cooktop has for when you maybe accidentally turn it on. It starts beeping and you see an error symbol on the cooktop. That's just to show whoever is turning it on that you don't have a vessel on it. Maybe you're preoccupied. And it's good because in the electric cooktop, for example, if you turn it on, the pad starts to heat up. That won't happen in the induction cooktop. All right, now I will actually start the experiment. Here we have an induction suitable vessel. I can prove this by putting a magnet to the vessel. Any vessel that you're using to cook with induction cooking needs to be magnetic. I'll explain why later. The magnet sticks to the bottom of the pan, which shows that it is induction suitable. And it sticks on pretty well. I will place that on the cooktop. This is our electric cooktop again. So we will be comparing the rapid boil on the induction cooktop and the high on the electric cooktop. I will visually pour 2 cups of water into each.
While Sneha's doing that, I'm going to say that both of these are electric. The cooktop that's built in at her home is called Radiant Electric, I believe. And the one on the right is the induction, which is the magnets.
Yes, Judith is completely correct. The electric cooktop that I've been talking about here, it works by heating up a coil that's underneath the cooktop, and this coil radiates heat and that's how the vessel is heated. Whereas the induction cooktop, the coils are pulses are sent through copper coils that are underneath the cooktop. This causes or induces electrons in the copper coils to start moving. And this produces an electromagnetic field, which induces the electrons in this magnetic vessel to start moving. This produces heat. This is a great function of induction cooking because it allows us to regulate the temperature really easily, because the more electricity pushed through the coils, the faster the electrons pulse. This causes a stronger electromagnetic field and more heat. The less vice versa. Okay, so we will start the experiment now. Ready? So in induction cooking, you will find that there will be a little bit of noise coming from the cooktop, but you don't need to really worry about that. That's just a venting mechanism in the machine.
What happens when the induction cooktop is left on?
So when it's left on, after a couple of minutes, it will just switch off if there's no vessel on it, or it'll show an error like I showed before. If you take your vessel off of it and you forget to switch it off, then it will automatically switch off on its own after a couple of minutes. If it overheats, again, it will switch off on its own, which is a really good safety mechanism it has.
Yeah,
I noticed that there isn't any residual heat.
Yes, that's true. This is again what Jude was talking about, how the electric cooktop is a radiant cooktop. It's because the coils are heated and that heat is directly transferred to the vessel. This causes quite a bit of heat to be transferred outside, heating the air, not directly to the vessel itself. Whereas only things that are magnetic in its surroundings will start heating up when we see it in the induction cooktop. This is because, again, it uses electromagnetic fields, so it only induces electron movement in a magnetic thing. So you'll see if I put my hands around the cooktop, nothing, it's not even hot at all. Whereas if I put my hand around the cooktop in the radiant electric cooktop, I can feel it. It's not too bad right now because it's still heating up, but I can still feel the heat coming from it. If you notice now in the experiment, we're about 2 minutes and 20 seconds in, and there are already bubbles being produced in the induction cooktop, and they're circulating around. But in the electric cooktop, you don't see anything.
I also noticed that there isn't any residual heat, not that much, coming from the induction cooktop, whereas even now I can still feel a little bit of heat coming from the electric cooktop from the top. Are there any limitations?
So the only big limitation that the induction cooktop has is the fact that it's limited to magnetic vessels. Again, because it uses electromagnetic fields, only magnetic things will interact with it.
I'm already seeing steam coming off of the induction. Is that right?
Yes, that is right. It's almost, you can actually see bubbles coming up. Again, the difference is insane between the electric cooktop and the induction cooktop. In fact, the water in the induction cooktop has already started to boil.
That's impressive.
I will stop the timer for the induction cooktop now because it's already started to boil. And I'll leave the electric cooktop on so we can see and compare. I will also switch off the cooktop so that we're not wasting energy.
So what's really clear to me is that it's really fast.
Yeah.
So just by not having to be on so long, it's going to be using less electricity. But it's also, in terms of replacing gas, so much safer.
It is. You're completely correct.
Yeah.
Also, it's really convenient for doing melting chocolate and making fondues and things like that, where in electric cooktop or gas cooktop, you'd have to boil the water and then put like a container inside of it and then put the chocolate. In the induction cooktop, you can just put the chocolate on the pan, because you can lower the heat really easily, because again, you can manipulate the temperature because it's easy to do so. Whereas in the electric cooktop or in the gas cooktop, it's harder to regulate the temperature so precisely. If you can see, you can see a lot of steam coming from the electric cooktop, and it's starting to bubble at around 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I want to note that you didn't get this much vapor coming from the induction cooktop because it heated up quickly. Now we're kind of losing quite a bit of water as well. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. And in the summer, I would imagine that using an electric cooktop or a gas cooktop with all that excess heat coming off the unit, you really are heating up your space even.
You are. That's true.
Yeah.
I will stop the timer now. I think you kind of get the idea between the induction cooktop and the electric cooktop. So I'm going to show you something pretty cool about the induction cooktop. If I take the vessel off the cooktop and I touch it, my hands don't burn. It's super cool. I will not be doing this with the electric cooktop to show you that difference, because I would like to keep my hands. I need it for homework. But for me, who I'm a freshman in high school, my skin is pretty rough now, not from homework. And my hands can handle the heat coming off of the pad. If my little sister does it, she can handle it too. Of course, if baby hands touch it, it will get burnt. Their skin is really sensitive, but if you put the induction cooktop on a counter, usually they won't be able to reach it if they're below my waist level. And
So I'm curious, Neha, what does it look like underneath the electric cooktop? The other one, your just if you slide it off, is it still red?
It would have been a little while ago, but it isn't red anymore.
But it's
hands on it, I can feel the heat even from far away, which means that the coil is still releasing heat even after I've switched it off. Whereas here, you don't really see that. Like even now, it's pretty cold. I don't feel anything coming off of it.
Yeah, people complain about electric cooking, electric coil and radiant, and as very uneven. It goes on, it goes off, trying to maintain a temperature. But I know that with some induction tops, you can actually set the temperature as a number, not like low, medium, high, but like 212.
Yes, you are correct. If you, there are 2 buttons on the side of the screen in the induction cooktop. Those buttons allow you to decrease the temperature, the exact temperature you're cooking your food at by 10 increments, and increase by 10 increments.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, this is really exciting. I want to say that the AB PIP STEM donated an induction cooktop to the Boxborough Library as a lending thing. They're the lending library of things. And Mothers Out Front donated one to the Acton Library. So people can borrow these cooktops and see what it's like for themselves. They clearly are fast. They're very controllable. You don't have to kind of bend down and look at the flame and go, well, is that high or low? And they're even and efficient. Is there anything about that you want to say about where we get our energy, electric energy from? Is that something that you want to address now?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, Resource Force is working on this. We have been talking about how our town gets our electricity from Eversource. Eversource supplies electricity to our homes, and Acton itself has APC, Acton Power Choice, which is basically a power plan that the town has provided residents. It has basic Acton Power Choice, standard Acton Power Choice, and 100% renewable Acton Power Choice. Acton Power Choice standard is our current default level at 30% renewable electricity. That is 10% above the state mandate of renewable electricity, which is 20% of renewable electricity. So this means that our grid mix, which is basically the electricity coming off of the grid, which everyone gets, is currently 10% more green than what the state would mandate. That's pretty good. I mean, it's not as good as we want it to be. It's definitely better than some towns are, but not as good as others. If you take Newton, for example, they have 82% renewable electricity in their plan, which is vastly better than ours is. And Lowell has 64% renewable electricity, and that is along with all of them being class 1 RECs. Class 1 RECs are RECs that are found in New England. They're newer RECs. They are more expensive, but that also allows for the renewable electricity field in New England to grow, because we are not only paying for the production of these RECs, these renewable electricity coming into our grid, we are also paying for more renewable electricity sources, renewable energy sources to be made, like solar panels and windmills.
Fantastic. I asked the question and you had the answer. Wow, that was great. So will Acton create, can Acton get better at using 100% renewable energy or moving up to higher percentage than we are now?
Oh yeah, definitely. So the switching to 100% renewable electricity has already happened. 4% of residents are currently in 100% renewable electricity. That's not the number we want right now, but it is a step forward. And we will be renewing the contract for APC in the near future. And our team at our student-led team at Resource Force are trying to advocate to change the default level from standard to 100% renewable electricity. This, what we found with interviews with other towns like Lexington, Lowell, and Newton, is that people tend to not change from the default, which means that people have enough money to pay for a little extra to have that 100% renewable electricity. This doesn't mean that we're not going to have an opt-down option or an opt-out option. We want to make sure that everybody in the town has a way to opt out or down when they financially need it. So we do want to keep other levels in APC, but we want to make sure that that we start pushing for people to change to 100% renewable electricity, because the change is now. Like, we need to make this change to 100% renewable electricity. The sooner, the better.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sneha. That was so good. I have something in front of me that sort of shows the pricing, and it changes every time they make a new contract. But what I will say, I won't give the price, but the difference is between basic and green is about 2 cents per kilowatt hour. So I think of it perhaps as like a donation to our future, for your sister, your family, that this is, yeah, very important choice to make.
You can-
Anything you want to add?
I just wanted to point out the difference in times. I know from the video, you might not have been able to see it, but this is the time for the electric cooktop, and this is the time for the induction cooktop.
I can see one of them. I can only see one. Yeah, okay, let me just switch cameras. Okay.
As you can see, it's almost a 2-minute difference between them.
Awesome.
Yeah, over 2 minutes. It's pretty incredible to see that.
Awesome. Well, this has been awesome. I feel like you've got the information, and people should come to you and the resource force to find out how to move forward on making these choices that we can make every day for our future. It's really great.
We will be having a AV PIP and Energize Acton will be having a demo on March 20th at Nara Park, where we'll be showing the induction cooktop at its best in front of everybody. You can come and see. Jude, you might have more information on this, but
yeah, it's like I said, March 20th. It's, I think, from 2 to 3:30 in the afternoon. And it's really a energy fair. It will highlight induction, but also EV. You can meet people who have EVs, electric vehicles, and there'll be some good snacks, free snacks, and that should be really fun. So again, thank you so much. And we'll hope to do something like this again.
thank you as well.
Yeah.
We also want to thank AV PIP. They, as Jude mentioned a while ago, they gave us these equipment for the induction cooktop and the vessel as well. So.